Hi, welcome to Waiter Nation. My name is Michael Fagan. I'm your host. Today, I'm joined by Josh Ziegler. It's Wednesday. Josh joins me every Wednesday. Josh, today is my day to be on the couch. On Tuesday, I talked to Giovanna, and she's fun, and we have a lot of fun talking. And Thursday and Friday, I'll more or less interview. But this is the day that I look forward to, that I can let it all out to you, and you can. It's sitting with Dr. Ziegler today from Georgia. So I hope you comment in. It's interactive. If you comment in, we'll try to answer or at least give our opinion on what you're commenting in on. It's easy. I used to put the link up so everybody could join us. Nobody joined us, so I don't put the link up. If you want to join us, just say, hey, I want to join, and I'll send you the link. So I just talking to you before air, Josh, I thought that everything was closed down in Atlanta, but you said it's not.
No, it's apparently just a recommendation. I'm pretty sure that's the way that the mayor wants to go. The governor certainly doesn't. Since my restaurant's not open right now, I'm not necessarily paying very strict, close attention to it. Mm-hmm. My wife works. She's actually outside of city limits. She's more in a suburb, so it doesn't apply. But just like everything else in the world, you have a Democratic mayor, you have a Republican governor, and we're just divided and nothing gets done. Nothing gets changed. No cohesive response to what's going on in the world, and therefore it just continues to get worse. That's where we're at.
Well, the mayor of Atlanta, her whole family just got infected by coronavirus, right?
Right, yeah, she has it, right? Yeah.
I think her kids. Somebody that we both know messaged me and said that they have 2 adult children, husband and wife. They both work. One of them's in the industry. I'll keep them anonymous.
Okay.
And one of their children, both their children got infected. One severely, really, and both young.
That's scary.
Young people, right?
That's scary.
Hey Pat, what's going on, man? What's the news in Atlantic City? No. What's Pat say? No benefits, no justice. So then what happened was the parents had to both get tested. The waiter in the family is asking for off every night, trying not to let people know that they have it, because once you have it, it's like you're infected. Nobody will come near you. It's like
scarlet letter on your chest. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So and now they're having trouble with getting tested. And then once they did get tested, it's like 7 days down the road. They got tested once, they came up negative, and now they're going back to get tested again because the virus is in their house. So between financial, like they're taking days off from work, so they're suffering financially. And then the worry, I mean, if your kids have it, obviously no matter how old, you're going to go crazy. And then just trying to stay in, trying not even to go anywhere but the grocery store is, and last week, I think after we talked last week, I think the person messaged me and said, hey, this is what's going on with my family, but I'm really not telling anybody because obviously, right?
Yeah. Gosh, I know. I mean, I can't imagine having to deal with having a positive test, being in the house and having to deal with that. And work at the same time, let alone, just worrying about it in general. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough place to be. And that's where I imagine with the way that we're handling everything, that's where we're all going to be shortly. At least now you still know that there's like maybe 10%, 5% availability at the hospital. Whereas I feel like in a month, that won't be the case. There'll be a line outside the hospital.
Well, I mean, it's crazy because all you do is hear headlines. Like I thought, all right, I'm going to talk to you this week and find out that Atlanta's closed. You work in Atlanta. You weren't open. Your boss kind of figured that it would close down again. And now Atlanta's closed. And then I talked to you 10 minutes before we went on air, and you said, no, we're not closed. It's just a recommendation.
They're not closed. I texted my buddy because I thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, Atlanta's closed. My buddy's GM of a restaurant that's basically across the street from the restaurant I work at. Okay. I did work with him for a while. He was a manager at my place. and texting him saying, "Oh, cool, man, you're gonna have some time off. You want to come out on a Sunday and we'll get together, have dinner." And he's like, "No, dude, we're still open." He's like, "That was just a suggestion by the mayor. Masks are required, but that was just a suggestion by the mayor. The governor has no, intentions on closing up at all."
Josh, we would be back to work if we sat home for April and May.
We were just talking about this, and absolutely, there is no doubt in my mind we would all be back to work because there'd be some sort of demand for the restaurant industry, and there wouldn't be nearly the danger that we're in right now posed by the virus because we would have handled it better. As a lot of countries that are now starting to open up slowly and smartly are finding out. And so we didn't have any kind of unified, cohesive response in the beginning. We weren't given undiluted information, and here we are. We're a country that is the worst in the world by far, in having handled this and where we're going. So of course the economy is going to follow that. And therefore, if the economy is affected by it, so are we in the restaurant industry.
Right. And the economy is what the politicians worry about on both sides. And the economy is a big word. And the economy is mostly thought of as like the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But hospitality represents the Dow Jones by like a small fraction of the Dow Jones. It's all tech, telecom, communications. It's not real people working blue collar.
Yeah. Oh, look,
Yeah. So Brigada says that they're going to announce they're opening up on the 26th. Outdoor dining introduced Sun Bar at the Water Club. Brigada Street Eats food, beer trucks available for outdoor food and drink service as well. Existing Brigada Beer Garden guests will utilize digital innovations such as QR codes for menus and texting and text messaging for seating available. Brigada Eats, restaurant food, takeout, room deliveries allowed. Guest star order meals for Brigada eateries. Old Homestead Steakhouse, Noodles of the World, and Bread and Butter. So that's what Brigada's starting.
And that's a smart step, outdoor dining, and trying to encourage social distancing while you're doing it at the same time. Or I guess, with just limit face-to-face, because again, like we were talking, I think the first show we did, we were talking about like, hey, yeah, I go up to a table, I have a mask on, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm next to them, they're next to me, that's kind of a smart move what Brigada's doing. I get it. You're limiting virus exposure, which is what we should all be doing and should have been doing 2 months ago. We didn't, and here we are.
A couple places, salons in the area, and a pizza place down on Ocean City. They announced on Facebook that they had some infected employees.
Right.
And then they went through all the steps to communicate. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to close down for this period of time. This is how we're going to clean the place. This is how we're going to take care of our employees. And this is when we're going to open up. It's the new normal, which is a horrible phrase, but the new normal is like you can't count on anything because once you go back to work, you might get laid off or you might take a few days off. You obviously don't need the staff that you did in the past. Boyd, who used to run Brigada for years before MGM, announced in Las Vegas they put the warn notice out to 2,500 employees.
Yeah,
not their fault. There's no business. They don't, as their projections are coming in, and there are no conventions. And I talked.
There are two things. There are governmental mandates saying that you can't have so many people in a place, which of course is the right move, but obviously that limits business. And then the bigger thing is the demand. And demand is definitely going to go down as more and more people get the virus and more people see people that they know with the virus. And, some of those people are really sick and more people are going to be dissuaded from going out to, go out to eat or go out to, a hotel or go out to a casino. Of course, that's going to happen. So you've got both things hitting the industry at once.
Yeah, and the convention too. Philadelphia just announced yesterday 7 months before large gatherings, so there'll be no Mummers Parade, which is a big deal on New Year's Day, but no large gatherings. They're sporting events, so when the Eagles play, they're still planning on it. When the Eagles play, there's no fans, and
Right.
that's going to be up to the individual cities that the teams play in.
Yeah, well, for the NFL, it is. I think it depends on the sport. And everybody, just like us talking here, nobody really knows. So you're just kind of like leaving things open. You're like, all right, so we'll leave it up to the cities. We'll leave it up to the teams themselves, the towns, the people that live there. Right. And then other, like the NBA, they're all playing in Orlando at Disney World, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, every sport's got a different idea. And, I don't know how I feel exactly about it. I mean, I'm dying for something I love sports. Used to be a huge Yankee fan. Haven't really followed them in the last couple of years, but I look forward to watching, opening day, which is on July 23rd. But at the same time, is that the right thing to do? Is it the right thing to do to play a baseball game during this time? I don't know. How do you feel about it?
What I think in the whole scheme of things, I told you I Zoom every Sunday with my family. And I'm the only one in my family that's really, I mean, everybody is inconvenienced, but I'm the only one that lost my industry. Everybody else works from home or has the summer off because they work in a school. And every Sunday morning, I'm like, oh boy, a lot of stuff happened this week. The numbers are like this. They closed it. My family doesn't know. It's not what they're.
I mean, to most people, it's just numbers. It's just statistics. It doesn't necessarily affect them. Of course, you and I, we're devastated by the affectations of this. Yeah, I mean, same thing with my brother. I mean, most people I know that have, jobs like that they can work from home, they're actually doing better.
Yeah.
They're making their money. Their life is kind of gotten a little bit easier, I suppose, because, instead of working, your 40 hours a week plus your, maybe hour and a half commute time, blah, blah, blah. You're working from home. You can concentrate those 40 hours that you do for work time, maybe down to 25, and you're not commuting, so your quality of life just went way up. Whereas us, we don't know what the future holds. I don't know I don't know what it's going to be in 3 weeks when federal benefits run out.
Well, I think we get two more weeks of the federal benefits.
Right.
And the Senate has been out this whole time. They get back to 21st of July. Mm-hmm. Once they're back to 21st of July, they go out again on August 7th. I would consider this a national emergency where everybody has to show up and do what they can to fix some shit or to help some people.
I mean, I have to believe that they will do something for us in the meanwhile. I don't know what it's going to be, and that's scary because, I like to budget out my life. I like to know exactly where I'm at, what I'm able to spend.
Like, instead of 600, maybe it'll be 2, maybe it'll be 3, maybe it'll be 4.
Right, but those numbers, I mean, for me, I'm married. My wife works in the industry, so those numbers for me are doubled, and I have to be able to figure it out. So honestly, going from 600 to 200 would be devastating. Going from 600 to 500 would affect my life greatly. I mean, for me, that's $800 a month, and I'm as for what we have right now, I'm kind of barely scraping by.
Right.
So what would it be? I don't know. So. It's important to people like us or in our situation to figure this stuff out. The latest I've also heard is that it could be based on what you make. So again, if you're making max benefits, meaning that, you made, I honestly don't know what the number is, but let's say it's 40,000, then you hit your max for your state. You'll get the max federal, and maybe that'll be up to $600 a week again.
They were saying that it might be too complicated. So what they would like to do, I mean, the system is so overwhelmed that what they would like to do is just come up with a number.
Right.
The one sticking point is that the Republicans want to make sure that you can't sue your employer or school. I don't know if anybody even cares about that. We go to work in a public environment, and if there is negligence on an employer because they're just not cleaning, or they just put you in situations where you have to handle large groups, or your table, you have a six top and they're not wearing masks and half the dining room isn't wearing masks, and then you get sick, you'd be mad as hell, and there's nothing you can do about it. I can see.
And my feeling on it is this. I mean, you're going out in public, you're exposing yourself to the virus. So, I mean, that's on you. You decide to go to the store even to buy. I get it. But I mean,
I understand it, because if you're a business owner, how can you open up if you have 100 people in your place every night and 4 of them are going to sue you? So I understand that.
Right. I absolutely agree with that. Why would you open up as a business? But then again, coming back to our industry, why would a corporation? I mean, you're in a high-end steakhouse, as I'm in a high-end steakhouse. We do so much of our business is businesses taking out clients. I mean, that's what we do. So why would a law firm, let's say, who's taking out clients, want to go out to eat, where if they're fiscally responsible if somebody gets sick from that exact dinner? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing's very convoluted. And where do you want to go with that? Yeah, of course, nobody should be able to be sued for this. Yeah, you do everything very well. You go out and you make decisions to be out in public. You're exposing yourself to the virus. It's as simple as that.
Well, they're saying that if you're an employee, it's not your decision. You're forced back to work. So then if you get sick, you sue to your employer.
I guess you got to differentiate what kind of job you're talking about. Because if you're, work at a hospital, let's say, we need. I mean, they have lack of workers as it is right now, and what it's going to be in the future, they're going to have even more dearth of workers. So they're going to absolutely need to force people to work, and they're working in a much more difficult environment than we would be working in a restaurant. So I'd say there are employees that get to choose, and then there are employees that don't get to choose. I don't know. I don't know what's right and wrong with that. I honestly don't.
I'm just bringing it up. I see both sides, because if you get sick, you'll be mad as hell, and you'll want how do you say the word? Retribution?
Retribution, yeah.
Yeah. But if you're an employer, you just can't stay open if 5 people are going to sue you every night and they have grounds to do so.
Of course not. Of course not.
There's a lot of large hotels now I see on, I'm searching for jobs every day. So if anybody wants to hire me, I'll join you if you
Are you?
Opportunity.
Are you?
But I search every day because I don't know what's out there, and I'm not sure what my talents and experience can bring to another company. But maybe there's something that I just haven't thought of. But
sales. You can get into sales, buddy. You'd be a good salesman.
In the past, I acted. So whenever I was poor, I'd go be an extra on a movie. I'd work 4 or 5 days, make $1,000 that week. That business is gone. I can't do that. A long time ago, I quit this business. I opened up a venue. I used to have bands come in, and I made a little money doing those kind of things. That's gone. So the whole crowd, hospitality, customer service, but sales. Can you make money in sales? Does it take 3 months to actually make money in sales? I try not to be the person that every time somebody throws an idea at me, I say, oh, I can't do that because. I try to think can I do that? I might have to learn some new software. I might have to learn the computer a little better. I might have to learn some things. Maybe I could do that. Maybe that's an option. Because just to say no, eventually one day, no money comes in and I have to go to work. And $11 an hour, I'm in line for the foreclosures. $11 an hour doesn't help.
You got to be open-minded, but it also, I mean, what a difficult time, because you just don't know what anything's going to look like 3 months from now. Not just our industry, anything. And like I've always said, I mean, and this is why I do believe that they will pass something to give us enough money to get by on, at least. Because if they don't, the economy will collapse. I mean, if you just don't give people enough money to go out there and live, then that money's not being spent. And if that money's not being spent, then next thing you know, your local supermarket's going to start laying off people because they can't afford to pay them because nobody's buying anything. Every single like clothes retailer will lay people off because people aren't buying clothes because clothes is not a necessity. It's something extra. Nobody's going to start buying new cars. Therefore, those people are going to start getting laid off. And that just further detracts money going into the economy. So what happens then is every industry that the ones you're thinking of like, okay, maybe I could do this. You're like, well, that all of a sudden 3 months from now isn't an industry anymore because that's closed down too. So what a difficult time to make these kinds of decisions.
Yeah, definitely the malls were going out of business due to online shopping. And now
that was happening anyway. Yeah. And this is going to accelerate that. It's going to accelerate the process. Yeah.
My buddy went out to get new uniforms to go back to work. And when you go to the mall or a clothes store, you can't try anything on. So you have to buy it off the shelf, bring it home, try it on. If you don't want something, you take it back. And then they put it in a room for 24 hours. So if the virus is on it, it'll die in 24 hours.
Really?
So to make it that inconvenient, I'll use Amazon. If I don't like it, I'll go down and I'll just return it that way.
Right.
You know, so that just like us with the inconveniences to our business and our business model, it's going to lower the market share. You know, if there were 10,000 people going out to dinner on a Saturday night, now there's 4 or 5. And not as many of us can survive because the water's running out of the tank. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. You know, and there's still people, especially being down here in the southern part of the United States. There's a lot of people that are in absolute disbelief and are indignant over the fact that they have to wear a mask or that this virus even exists. But those people are becoming more and few and far between as more people get sick. And, you know, again, you can deny that this is even a problem to begin with and just say, well, let's go back to school. Let's, you know, everything should be normal. You know, it's just a flu. You're just going to get a little sick. That becomes a more difficult argument to have when, you know, somebody, you know, gets really, really, really deathly ill, if not passes from, you know,
well, just going back to school, and I know a principal I was talking to this week, and she said they don't have a plan. They don't have the guidance laid out yet. And this is what, 4 or 5, 3 weeks away. Same thing in our business. There was no plan. We just opened up. Then we found out the bars were the worst place in the world to be. Indoor dining was horrible. Then they all shut down. And this costs a lot of money because if you were collecting that unemployment and then you go back to work, you stop. And then you go back on unemployment, you have to wait your 2 weeks, you have to file a new claim, you have to go through the whole thing, and hopefully it'll go through. Because if it doesn't go through, then you're just out of money because you went to work for a couple of days.
Right.
The thing that pissed me off too is that there's so much anger about people making $600 a week, right? Like everybody is, oh, well, they're making more money than they were, and you and I aren't. But a lot of people are. Nobody's upset about, and I read the articles and I don't know if they're true or not, but both sides, politicians connected to businesses, they got all the PPP money.
Right.
Churches got the PPP money.
Right.
Nobody says anything about that. Businessmen cheat on taxes all the time. Amazon pays no taxes. We subsidize large corporations. Nobody cares about that. All they care about is some poor bastard that's making $600 a week.
Well, you know, look, I think in so much of the divisiveness in our country, it comes down to where you're getting your news from. You know, if you watch left-wing slanted news, you're going to see that people are mad about that, and they do talk about that. If you watch more, you know, right-stream news, then yeah, they're mad about just the $600 and all the cooks and dishwashers in our industry that are getting 600 or even waiters, because they don't know that, you know, some people make money like you and I do. You know, they're looking at, you know, there's an unskilled labor force of, you know, making $10,000 to $20,000 a year, now making, you know, $900 a week because they can get this unemployment. You know, that's why they don't want to go back to work. They're lazy. Of course, that's the narrative they're watching.
They're getting it too. Everybody's getting it. People are like, oh, you get that $600? Yo, stupid. Everybody's getting the $600. Not just me, not just 2 guys that I work with. Everybody.
Right.
You know, 47 million people went out of work. I think we're still over 20. And a lot
no, it's going back up. Yeah. And you'll see the unemployment numbers will come out again tomorrow. It'll be another like 2 to 3 million people apply for unemployment tomorrow. Watch.
Yeah, this affects us so much that I'm like waking up looking at shit that I never looked at every morning. Numbers, because if the numbers go down, it means I get back to work sooner. The numbers are double, even triple what they were 2-3 months ago.
Well, you and I are only two people that I really know, other than people I work with, that are out of work at the time.
Right.
My wife's place opened back up. A buddy I do work with had another job. That other place opened back up, so he's working there. And most people up in even Jersey, have some sort of outdoor venue they can go work at. I mean, we're the only ones that I know that aren't working right now. So yeah, we're upset. We need the $600 a week. I mean, that makes it so I don't go broke. I'll be honest with you, because I live a life where I need to make between my wife and I, over $100,000 a year. I think my bills, if I added them up, they're like $90,000 a year.
Right.
So I need to make $100,000 a year, just to be able to, do something nice for my kids.
Yeah, you're just maintaining. You're not.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. That word, a living wage. A living wage is like $75,000 a year. A living wage used to be $35,000 a year.
I'd like to hear the people that talk about a living wage live on a living wage. Yeah, that's absolutely
all
absurd.
The people that you're mad about that are getting that $600. You were fighting. Hey, we're giving them a living wage. With that minimum shit, and now they're making more. So, that.
Look, some people are. Some people are making more than they were making. I get that. Maybe even a lot.
There are.
There are. There's no getting around that. And my feeling is, so what? I mean, they're not saving that money. They're not investing in what would be good investments right now. They're spending it, and it's going back to the economy. Let's be honest. Right. Exactly. So
I've been
you and I are getting by where we've learned to budget ourselves a little more. But every dime that we get is going towards something. We're paying something, so that money again is going back into the economy. Nobody's taking this money and hoarding it. Nobody's going out and buying nonsensical stuff. And we're all worried for what happens in 3 weeks, because we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And you were talking. There she goes. Hey,
Sarah, how are you? Chicago's getting ready to close back down again. Are you working
places well?
Where are you working? And now that means you'll be laid off again?
Sarah's our Capitol Grill girl, right?
Yes. So this morning or yesterday, I see something where right now all the hospitals report to the CDC. Yes, she was. Sarah just answered yes, that she was working. Now she's getting ready to get laid off. In New Jersey, I don't hear a lot of news about Chicago. I hear it about down south in California. That's what I seem to hear about all the time. I don't hear it about Chicago, except for Sarah, which is cool. So now all the hospitals giving their data to the CDC, which is public, are going to send it to the administration. So
I've heard that. Yeah,
it's not public.
I mean, it sounds to me like, the administration doesn't want this stuff getting out.
Hopefully people are putting aside money for taxes on that 600. Yeah, you do have to, if you're paying taxes on your regular unemployment, you're not paying it on the 600. And you're right.
No, you know what? I am. So my wife and I both get it every week. She gets the full amount. I guess the way now down here in Georgia, it's different from how you guys do it. Down here in Georgia, our employer files the unemployment for us. So my employer files it and I pay taxes on it. Tara's employer files it and she doesn't pay taxes. So the way that they, I guess whatever they do, they have it set up. They just have it set up so you're not paying taxes for Tara. So I get so I think both our max benefits are $965 a week. I get 810 of that 965. Tara actually gets the 965 a week.
Well, we'll all have poverty incomes, so we won't have to pay that much in taxes. Sarah says so he can lie about the numbers. That's meaning Trump. But whether they're lying or not, if it's not public, it ensues lack of trust, right? The CDC is supposed to be bipartisan. It has been forever. All of a sudden, there's a mistrust in the CDC. I'm not smart enough to know if that's true or not, except that's who we've listened to forever.
Hey, buddy, the presidency is supposed to be bipartisan. Nothing's bipartisan anymore.
I bet you our numbers, as soon as that information is hidden, I bet you our numbers go way down, and we don't go back to work. Reality
won't go way down. Again, when your family members get sick, when you know people that are sick, when you have to go to the hospital and there's a line outside the hospital, that won't matter. Whatever numbers they're telling you, reality will hit everybody because it's real. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which news source you watch, who you voted for. This is real, and this is the problem. This is why we need a cohesive strategy that we don't have.
So as they open up schools and there's no plan, and I was talking to my old man the other day, and I said, and it's an uncomfortable subject, but if in your area, if down here in South Jersey, if 2 kids pass away because they got sick, that would be devastating to the entire community, let alone that school, that family. You know, it's a hard subject to talk about. But if there's no plan to go back, some are still going to go online. Some are going to go half to kids in the morning, half to kids in the afternoon. And then they say, well, the buses, it's too much for the buses. It's too expensive to do that. And then every other day. But again, there's no cohesive plan for the country to say, this is how we're going to put our children back to school. I think.
Look, so I have 2 school-age children. They're going to 3rd and 2nd grade.
Right.
We took a survey. Both I got an email, my wife got an email, and they asked us a bunch of questions. Whether you're going to homeschool, you're going to send them back to school. What you want, what you feel on a 1 to 5 the safety level should be. Blah blah blah. And so everything came back, and it's like, well, if you want your kids to do digital learning, they can. If you want to send them to school, we're going to be open August 5th. That's when the school's open here in Georgia. And okay, so everything was set. And then, of course, the surges started happening. And what they tell us, they said, okay, we're moving it back a week to August 12th. And we're going to have the teachers come in that week, and we're going to discuss everything that we are going to do, can do, what's plausible, what's possible, and this and that, and we'll get back to you. My feeling is they're probably not going to open schools at least till September. They'll move it back that far.
I believe California, in a couple counties, said that there's going to be no school other than just online school as they start in the fall. Now, if there were no plans for school, there's no plans for restaurants, there's no plans for large gatherings.
I'm sorry, Mike?
I was just saying, if there's no plans for schools, then there's no, and I'm talking about a national plan. Like, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
These are the guidelines. These are the instructions. Every school is different. Some are bigger, some are smaller. You know what this does? It rolls downhill to the poorer schools, and they're going to suffer the most because they have the least amount of resources, right?
Right. Well, I mean, that's typical in anything you can think of. It'll hit the poor first. Yeah.
Right. All right.
You grew up where I grew up in the Poconos, right?
Yep.
I can remember my first presidential election that I voted in was 1992 when Clinton ran against Bush for a second term. And I don't know if you remember, there was a downturn in the economy at that point. And I remember everybody saying, well, if the country gets a cold, Pennsylvania gets a flu, because it was just that we were more of a working class, poorer area, shall we say. And I mean, that's whatever happens, it affects the poorer people much, much, much more harshly than it does anybody with means, without a doubt.
Right. We used to play a lot of games when we worked in the restaurant, Josh. One of my favorite games was would you press the button? Right? You'd put up some ridiculous thing like would you press the button for $500 million, but 400 people would die randomly and they could be in your family, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Everybody presses the button.
Everybody presses the button.
Everybody presses the button. So
you might not want to, let people know that you'd press the button, but you'd press the button.
Right. Everybody presses the button because they think money can fix it. So who wins in a fight? We used to play this game. Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon or Bruce Willis from Die Hard?
Oh, Gibson kills him.
Gibson kills him?
Oh, come on. He was like a special forces guy and he's a black belt. Bruce Willis was tough, but he was like that drunk Irish kind of tough. You know what I mean? He half luck, luck of the Irish, that kind of thing. Mel Gibson wins.
I would agree too, especially when Will Smith or Jamie Foxx?
Any character involved or just the actual actors?
Is gonna play Tyson in a movie, so he is like ripped right now. I see some different things on YouTube, but like he's working out.
I gotta say, Will Smith, he's got the natural athleticism.
Your wife,
he's got the reach too. And this is coming. I'm a short guy, and I used to box, and I would love guys with reach because I just get in on them. But I got to say Will Smith with the reach. Well, even though Fox, I've seen Jamie Foxx in person, and he's pretty ripped. He's pretty bulky.
Yeah, he was always in good shape, and he's working out. He's 53, and he's doing it.
Good for him.
So your wife never presses the button. So you're
she's lying. That was before kids. Now with kids, she would press the button.
Pat says Epstein or Cosby.
Ooh, I like that. I
gotta go with Epstein. Cosby was always over.
Now it depends what kind of fight it is. I mean, if Cosby could drug you up before that fight, you know what I mean? He'd put you to sleep.
That's true. I gotta go. Listen, all the controversy over Epstein, like Epstein didn't die. I guess what everybody is saying is that Clintons killed him.
Hey, did you watch that special on Netflix with Epstein? It's good. It's good. It's a good one. It's called Filthy Rich or something like that. Yeah.
But I mean, he's got pictures with all the presidents, with Trump, with Clintons, with everybody. So I don't, everybody said the Clintons killed him. I know. I've seen those lists.
No, I mean, nothing I saw on that. I would say I think it's Prince Andrew. He definitely, I would say, actually, we probably shouldn't say this online because we could probably get sued for libel. But I doubt anybody is watching that cares about this. But I would say that he would be the only one that the show depicted as being guilty of some sort of crime. He just knew Clinton. He hung out with rich, powerful people. So he hung out with Trump. He hung out with Clinton.
Yeah, there was definitely some bad shit going on.
He did bad shit in his life, but it had nothing to do with them.
Yeah, I don't get. I don't get it, but I don't know why. Like Epstein didn't kill himself. I don't get what the message is. Who did it? And I always think everybody thinks Clintons did. I guess I don't even know. But
who knows? Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. Most likely, he probably killed himself just by guessing the fact that he was not getting out of jail probably ever for the rest of his life. And a guy who lived the kind of lifestyle he lived, I could see him not wanting to
definitely
live at all. But you never know. Maybe.
How about Trump or Biden? They have a fist fight in the cage to determine the election. Who wins?
I guess you got to give it to Trump. He would cheat and he would cheat and lie his way through everything, right? Wouldn't he?
He would make a mess out of it. He certainly would.
No, he would. Trump would probably win. Got to say it. I think Obama would kick the shit out of him. I would have given Hillary a pretty good shot against him.
That's a good thought too.
Right.
I like Hillary against the ball. She'd go tiger on him.
Oh God, yeah. She'd just like latch on and bite his neck.
Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon.
Kimmel.
Kimmel too. Kimmel's dirty. Jimmy Fallon's soft.
That's probably the so far of the ones you mentioned, the one I would least want to watch.
Yeah, I can't sell that fight out. Mitch McConnell or Chuck Schumer?
Ooh, Schumer would kick his ass.
Yeah, I think so too.
McConnell would like grab himself and like cower in the corner. Just at the sight of anybody. Schumer's got New York Jew in him. He's gonna be a tough guy.
Stallone or Schwarzenegger?
Come on.
Like now they're both old men.
Oh God, they're both old men, aren't they? I mean, I would have to say Schwarzenegger. That'd be my guess.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Sidney Crosby or Claude Trudeau?
I'd have to look that up. I'm not exactly sure who they are, to be honest with you. Sidney Crosby's a hockey player, right?
Oh, they're probably both hockey players then.
Well, Crosby is like I don't think he's a tough guy. So I take the other guy.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I don't know. Yeah, I go with Schwarzenegger.
Really?
I mean, you got to understand. Do you know Schwarzenegger's backstory? I mean, the guy was he came over here. He was an immigrant. He always had confidence. I mean, that's the kind of thing that just propelled him. I mean, yeah, you know acting. I mean, you know his story. He just believed in himself, and he would trick people. He wanted everything he did, and Captain of the Pens and the Flies.
What's going on, Steve? I did see the story. I don't know if it was on HBO, and it was a story on Schwarzenegger, and they got this young guy that looked just like him, and him and Joe Weider. How they paired up and how they developed. Right.
My point is that Schwarzenegger, and look, they both. I mean, Stallone was poor too. Stallone wrote the Rocky movie, and when he brought it to Hollywood, they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll do it. We're gonna get somebody else to play Rocky." And he goes, "No, I'm not gonna sell you my story." And Stallone was dirt poor at the time, dirt poor, like living on $20 a week or whatever it was. And they're like, "Yeah, it's a great story. We'll give you $100,000 for it." He said, "But we're gonna get Robert Redford to play Rocky."
You're right.
He said, "No way." He's like, "I'm playing Rocky." And they're like, "No, then you're not getting anything." And he's like, "I don't care. I'm playing Rocky." And eventually they gave into him and they let him play Rocky and they bought his story.
It was like 3 times and it was up to $500,000. And the story goes that he was so poor at the time that he sold his dog on the street.
Yeah.
After he made his money, he went back.
He bought it back. Yeah. No, I remember that part.
Dog back for like $5,000. He sold it for $20. My question, as knowing the industry a little bit and how hard it is, where did he go with his script? Do you know how hard it is to get somebody to read your script? Like, no, everybody's got a script. And if you're in Hollywood or California.
Well, I think he had done some stuff. So he probably had a couple of connections. I mean, he had done the movie Fist. I remember watching that in school when I was a kid, which was about labor unions, right? He had done that movie in like 1970.
Yeah, I remember.
So, I mean, this was 75, so he had to have some connections.
Maybe. That's always my question when I hear that story. Like, what's the backstory? Because I know actors sleeping in cars and where was your connection? Because just to get an agent to look at you or to look at your picture, and everybody's got a script. I got the greatest novel. I got, nobody wants to read it, right? Because it's so hard. And that was.
Who'd that say? That's a good one. I remember talking about that one. Now, was that back in the early 90s when they were both in their heyday? Yeah. I mean, Seagal's a tough son of a bitch. I mean,
Seagal's like 6'5".
Yeah, exactly.
And he was legit. He was. I mean, I know he runs.
He was Aikido, right? Which is like the art of killing. Van Damme was more, more like fight like fair and stuff. I don't know. I'd go with Seagal.
I would go with Seagal too because I think he was meaner back in the day.
But I think in real life, like again, if you were to take their characters, I'd take Seagal. But if you could go in real life, I mean, Van Damme's like, he's like a stud. He's in great shape even now. Hey Leslie, how are you? Good to see from.
I lost you in the conversation.
You.
Leslie, who would win in a fight, you or JoJo, your general manager? That's the question we're asking.
Right, exactly.
Josh, who would win, me or Jimmy McGettigan? I think I'd mess him up, but it'd be a good fight.
Jimmy's an athlete.
I know.
I mean, I remember back in your day, you're an athlete too. And
Yeah.
Jimmy, you guys are about the same age, correct?
I think we could sell some tickets.
I played volleyball with Jimmy. I mean, I never did anything athletic with you. So I'm going with Jimmy, man.
I don't like it.
You've always talked a tough game.
I played. Jimmy was a pitcher back in the day, and we used to talk about throwing. And this is 15 years ago, maybe longer than that. And we all, like the whole work party, went out to a park, and we were throwing a football around. He did have a good arm. I mean,
I think I played softball once or twice with Jimmy as well.
He's famous for the big house party every summer. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love his place. Hey Jimmy, what's going on, man? You got to come on with us. Miss you, buddy.
Jimmy's not on Facebook, but his wife is.
His wife is, yeah.
Yeah, I should reach out to his wife and ask Jimmy to come on. Jimmy's like, I don't know. Maybe Jimmy won't come on, but maybe Jimmy will have some good stories. He seems to know everybody we know.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I know his kids. His kids are like both off of college now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I remember them when they were my kids' age, and my kids are young.
Well, he was working at Harrah's when I was working at Harrah's when they got engaged.
Right.
They were working in a different restaurant for a while. Then they got engaged. Then Jimmy started working with me. And then I went to Brigada and Jimmy went to Morton's with you.
Right. Exactly.
It's Jason Statham or Keanu Reeves.
Statham would kill him.
Right. However,
come on, Keanu Reeves, dude. Come on, pretty boy, skinny.
Yeah, but what about the new movies in? What's John Wick? If it's John Wick against Jason Statham.
Jason Statham, come on, man. He's gonna crush him.
Not Keanu Reeves, but John Wick.
Yeah, sure. Okay, you get a character. I mean, that's like take Steve Reeves as Superman. He's gonna beat everybody, right?
Yeah, well, that's not fair.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But look at the actor and that. If you tell me John Wick or one of Statham's characters, then I'll make a different decision.
Yeah, because John Wick kills like I don't know, 150 people in the movie.
Yeah, and in that case, Liam Neeson in any movie that he's ever done, because apparently he just kills people. That's all he does. I mean, he'll kill. He'd beat anybody.
I just saw a movie on Netflix with the actor Thor. You know, the Australian guy.
Not really, but go ahead.
Well, the guy with the hammer, Thor. He's
okay, young stud, whatever.
Yeah, and
okay,
he's I don't know, some special forces, and it's like the brand new movie on Netflix. He kills everybody. He kills everybody in the whole country with like one rifle, and 2 grenades.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you like that, it'll take care of you on a Friday night for a couple hours.
Right.
Popcorn. So that was.
How about Michael Fagan or Josh Ziegler? Who wins that fight?
It's a scrappy fight. I want to get you down because I'm a wrestler.
So there you go.
I want to get you down. I don't want to box you. You're a boxer and I'm a wrestler.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to get you down. Old Homestead, Bobby Flay, or American Cut? Well, listen, Caesar at Old Homestead at one time was like the toughest guy in Atlantic City. My boy Lewis that I work with is like the toughest guy in Atlantic City. But
I saw your boy Caesar at the gym. I used to work out with, well, not with him, but I saw him there. You told me who he was. Yeah, he looked like a strong boy, strong kid.
He was a bouncer back in the day for a lot of for like the nightclubs, so he used to get in a lot of fights. My boy Lewis fought more than Tyson, and he hits. I mean, he's a tough guy. Bobby Flay, I mean, they might have 1 or 2 tough guys, but I'll fight anybody in Flay. I don't.
Now
mind.
I wonder if you take the actual. How about Bobby Flay or Mark Forgione? Flay kills him. Come on.
I don't know. I think Forgione's dirty, and he's going to show up high, and he's going to.
Yeah, that's not necessarily going to help you. He might just try to talk. Sue for peace.
Well, Forge used to always say that. The other one, Michael Simon was his buddy. I think that would be a better fight because they're both smaller guys.
Yeah, and Forgione, is faint.
Yeah, neither one of them are going to fight.
Yeah,
they're gonna end up hitting on some hostess.
then I put my money on Forgione. He'll win that.
Who gets laid faster, Bobby Flay or Forgione?
Yeah, exactly. Forgione's got the game. He's definitely got the game.
I've heard some things the other way too, though.
Well, no, I believe it, but hey,
it's true.
I think we're off script from the restaurant industry, aren't we?
I don't think there's anybody tough ever since that guy Steve left. Steve was a real piece of work. But I don't think.
Now, how about our original American cut? Because we had some big boys, but a lot of them worked at Bobby Flay too. Kevin Petroni, Chris Padullo.
We did have some hammerheads.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want it to fight any of those guys.
In our industry, people are more generally in better shape than other industries. A lot because of what we do. A lot because they try to hire
good-looking people. Yeah, absolutely.
So you get the egos and
right.
Then a lot of people have all day. So you wake up in the morning. It's just part of most people's schedule. They wake up in the morning. They go to the gym. They work out.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And our ability to socialize is better than anybody. I was talking to Giovanna. I wouldn't recommend any girl to date a waiter because at first it looks good, right? We know everybody. We go out to a restaurant. We know how to tip. We get the best tables. We get into nightclubs. Everybody know. Oh, they come over. Hey, what's going on, Fagan? You know, it seems like we're something. And then a couple weeks later, they realize it wasn't a good move.
Yeah.
So I would think that the ego in the nightclubs and the going out, everybody likes to stay in shape for a little longer too.
That's true. Very true.
I was watching a little bit of a show last night called Showbiz Kids on HBO, and
okay,
I know
I'm not familiar with it.
You put your youngest, I think, has been to a couple auditions for some different things in Georgia.
Actually, both my kids have, and my youngest did get on a movie, and that's premiering. Hey, Tara, when's that movie premiering? Oh, she's not paying attention. Yeah, we just got the email that we could actually go to the premiere. It's in, Marietta. It's more of a, like a, what do you call it? A
small film they'll send to the festivals.
Yeah, a festival film. Yeah, that's it. And that's premiering right now in Marietta. But we decided we just want to get the clip of it, so we'll see. But yeah, he got into a he had a role. My other kids, they both auditioned. But go ahead.
I did a small film for Drexel University like 7-8 years ago, something like that, right before I started working with you. And the director, the producer, the director of photography, all these people, I still follow them on Facebook, and they're all working on major like TV and film. I ended up booking a gig on a TV show in New York, and I walked in, and the producer was the assistant director that day.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that these kids, they were kids when I worked for them, right? I hope that these kids make it, get their own project, and give me a line, give me a paragraph, give me 3 scenes, give me something.
Yeah, exactly.
Martha Stewart versus Guy Fieri. Keep in mind,
Guy Fieri seems like he never gets tired. You know what I mean? I just feel like he's like the Tasmanian devil. He could just get up there and just like start going crazy. I might put my money on Guy Fieri over anybody in the as a celebrity show.
Versus who's the lady? I can't think of her name. The one that she's got a TV show on every day on like NBC. She does the Zhuzh and the EVO and I just can't think of her name. Rachel something.
Rachel Ray?
Yeah. Rachel Ray and Martha Stewart.
I mean, Martha Stewart's like 70, right? Come on. Let's be real.
Yeah, I don't think that Martha hangs in.
I like to drown myself in realism.
Yeah. Anyway, the Showbiz Kids was good. They were like all these kids that were on different shows from way back when we were kids to up until a few years ago. Just talking about how horrible it was. However, I think you have to go into it with it was a spoiled attitude is what I was looking at. I mean, they've made money in their lives that they don't have to work again. So they look back on it, and some claimed abuse, which obviously is a tragedy, and that's not worth anything. But other ones, well, sexual abuse and different, accusations against pedophiles in the business and stuff like that. And I know when you're on set, everybody on set, and there's like 150 people to the crew, everybody is just trying to get a scene. And if you were there with your son, like it's sunlight, it's cameras, it's like, we got to get the scene now. We got to get it now. So I can imagine, especially 30, 40 years ago, kids are just hanging out. I've worked on sets where kids come in, and I've been already there like 7 hours, and then they'll come in, be there for 45 minutes, shoot their scene, and leave because I think they work 2 hours a day or something like that.
And let's face it. I mean, times are changing. And people are a lot of people that have grown up. We'll call them millennials. They they don't like that kind of hard work thing. That pushes them the wrong way. They're not into that. Anything is goes against what what's for their well-being. I hate to bring that up, but
listen, Mike Fagan in The Wolf of Wall Street versus Leonardo DiCaprio. This skinny guy was a weirdo. Like he walks with a weird walk, like he pinches his ass and like. It was weird. I was.
Are you talking about DiCaprio?
Yeah, DiCaprio. That's what Pat said. Mike Fagan in The Wolf of Wall Street.
No, I saw that part. You say DiCaprio walked like that?
I could. I mean,
I put my money on you against DiCaprio.
Easily, I take him. He's tall. He's a tall guy. 6'1".
Is he really?
Well, he was taller than me and like much taller. Not like this. Like he was bigger.
Really? I mean, dude, what are you, like 5'11"?
I'm like legit 5'11" and a half. I'm just under 6.
All right. So you're telling me DiCaprio was like 6'3"?
No, I just think he was like.
He had to have heels on, man. He doesn't look that tall.
He was a good like this much. Like he was taller than.
I don't believe that. Then you're not 5'11". That can't be the case.
I don't know. Maybe he did have shoes on. He was walking.
I gotta look it up.
Look it up. I bet you he's 6'1". I would give him 6'1". I'm not saying he's 6'3", but 6'1", like an inch and a half taller. But not a fighter. He was on his phone the whole time and smoking.
Says he's 6 foot. Is that real? I don't know.
Thin. He was thin and like not muscular.
Well, they're all thin, right?
Yeah.
They have to be. I mean, because the TV camera. Anytime, and you've probably obviously met a lot more celebrities than I have, but anytime I've seen a celebrity, they are a lot thinner in person than they look on TV. Just the way it is.
The guy that I was actually in the scene with, Kyle Channer, I think his name is, and he was like Friday Night Lights. That's what he was from. He was a big dude. He was like 6'1" and probably like a good solid $185.
Right.
He could have taken me. Like he was solid. He could handle himself.
Yeah.
But
well, we digress today.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes when I went on yesterday with Giovanna, I was like, yeah, numbers are high. I'm not working. Nobody's back. It sucks. And I thought,
yeah, you got to have a little levity in life. I mean, this is serious stuff. It's all I think about. It's all we think about. What's going to happen when the Senate gets back in session? What are they going to do for us? Like, am I going to get by? Is my family going to be okay? Do I have to sell my house? I know that I'm not going back to work anytime soon. And if I did, it's not going to be good. So, I'm not going to be able to make a living at it. So where am I? What do we do? I get it. You're right. And it could be overwhelming. So I do like to digress and get into something a little silly. And I'm glad we did it for a while.
I think the same thing. A lot of times I wake up like in a panic. And I think to myself, what's going to happen? Then I realize today it's not up to me, and it might not be up to me for like another 2 weeks.
No, it's so out of our control. And look, I think that's the way that we have to look at this as a country. We have to approach it that way. So much of this is out of our control. It's a virus. Let's work on doing that. Not pretending it doesn't exist, not letting it rule our lives. But hey, let's get a vaccination and let's get back to normal as soon as we can. And in the meanwhile, let's do everything we can smartly and safely.
Yeah, it's too. It's too overwhelming. I told you a lot of times, like I'm going to get a workout in today, but a lot of times I'm like, for what? I'm not going back to work. It's like I can't go buy a new shirt. I can't, like there's so many things. You still have the young kids and the wife. I'm single.
I took them out. We ran sprints today. I made my kids run sprints.
Yeah, like you have to actually put the effort in to do things to not let your house go to shit and just say, well, I'm not working tomorrow, I'll clean it tomorrow, and let 3 weeks go by.
Oh, you have to stave off depression. Yeah, all that stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. Without a doubt.
It was a good session, Josh.
Mike, always great talking to you, buddy.
For me, man. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'm going to go on or not. And then Friday, I have this good guy that Pete Vargas. He's from Michigan, and he works for a Restaurant Opportunity Center. And what they do is they go around and change laws in different cities to get us minimum wage plus tips. I'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you.
Because we don't want to take the truck without the thing.